Welcome back, besties. It's your mother. I'm in New York. She made it. She's in a house filled with boxes, but that's better than a house made of cards. You know what I'm saying? I've been here for a couple of days. And am I reshooting this podcast right now? Yes, because I shot it yesterday and I looked like a leftover shrimp. And I also had the energy of a heroin addict behind a dumpster. So am I as good as I seem right now? Not always. I'll be honest. The ride's been a little bumpy, a little emotional, but in general, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling amazing. I'm so happy to be in New York. There is so much synchronicity going on around me. Before I dive in to tell you guys everything that's been going on, I just want to tell you quickly, if you are in Raleigh on Wednesday this week or Nashville on Thursday, please come to my shows. I'm doing some new jokes about the situation. And you guys, I'm so excited. Here's the thing. Here's the beauty in all of this. Tragedy plus time is comedy. And I have had a lot of tragedy this year. And yeah, I'm excited to transmute it and turn it into something that can help other people, because I think that's my whole entire purpose on this earth. Unfortunately, is just to get my fucking teeth kicked in and then make other people laugh about it so that I don't kill myself. But listen, I am loving the energy in New York. I know I've said this before. I never liked New York before. I always thought it was too loud. It was too stinky, and it gave me anxiety, and everyone was so intense, and like it just felt like a lot. And now that I'm here, I love it. I love my neighborhood. I love the energy. I got here game 1 of the New York Knicks finals, and like literally when I was like blowing up my little air mattress, I had my windows open and everyone was roaring in the streets. The energy is so alive here right now, and it's so interesting because like I don't know, it's such a it's such an interesting moment in my life and in time, right? Like, you know, when I was a little kid at 37, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm going to be not only divorced, but then single again from a different relationship where I thought I was getting married, living in a studio apartment by myself in Manhattan. Like that was not on the vision board. The vision board was dead by 37. That was the you know, hate to see other people living my dreams. Saw a lot of that in Palm Beach. A lot of geezers just fucking kicking it in Palm Beach. But I am so happy to be out of Palm Beach, you guys. Oh my God. Like I don't know how I told myself that was ever going to work. Like I'm really trying to put myself back in the shoes of a girl who thought, yeah, let's go to this town where all they have is bad lipstick, bad florals, straw handbags, like literal straw basket handbags, highly flammable, so fucking ugly and so waspy and bougie, and they have questionable morals, bad politics, tacky Bentleys, like there was just not an iota of culture there. There was not an iota of character there. It's just the stuffiest, richest. It's the land of the lizard people. And I am so happy to be out. I'm so happy to see my friends who I, you know, share values with, and there's just life here. There's a sense of life here that doesn't exist there, because it is a lot of people at the end of their life. And like one thing that I found to be so stunning, not in a good way, stunning in a bad way, was how many people get to the end of their lives and they're still so angry, and they're still so uptight, and they're still so just generally unpleasant. I'm like, how did you make it this far and you haven't made one little like attitude adjustment, one little tweak, one little like, oh hey, if I'm pleasant in the world might be pleasant back to me. Like, how did you get this far in life? Like, I remember my condo that I lived in, that building down there, which I'm still paying rent for, don't worry, mama's still on the hook for that rent through February, baby. No, the landlord is going to try and relist it, but you know who didn't let me out of the lease, because why would he? So like the people in that building would literally just like, I heard a guy once like screaming at the front desk lady, like, who said that this magazine could be in the lobby? Nobody wants to read this it was like an architecture magazine. And I was like, this is what you're using the last few ounces of your lifeblood for? Like, this is it. This is truly it. I cannot believe how many people get to the end of their lives and they're still fucking miserable. But my only living grandparent is that way. He's a he's the worst, and he's always been the worst, and he's never made a single change. He's never made a single edit. And I'm just like, yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get how you stay on this earth and you go round and round and round and you don't learn one fucking lesson about human compassion or just being kind or the things that really matter. Like, that was a town where the things that really matter are upside down. Like, all anyone cares about is wealth and extreme wealth. And it's like true lizard people galore. And I'm happy to be in a town that values creativity and, you know, the hustle and the grind. And I just feel like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. The subways fucking smell. There's trash everywhere. You know, people run into you on the streets, but it's like, I've really just gotten into my zen with my meditating in the morning, meditating and journaling. And when I go out into the world, I'm like ready for the world. And it's been so fun. And has it been perfect? No, but it's been fun. Like, I got here, I unpacked for a couple days. I'm still unpacking. I still am like figuring everything out because I have like this giant, beautiful studio, but there's one closet. There's one closet and it's like a tiny closet. So I'm just like, oh, you know, here's the thing about moving hastily. When you move hastily, you sometimes miss things. Like, for example, I missed that there's no closet space in here. And then I also missed that there's no dishwasher in here. And I'm like, la, 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 that's going to be fine. But here's the thing. It is going to be fine. I have had an apartment before without a dishwasher. When I first moved to LA, I was 23 and I was broke and I didn't have a dishwasher. And it was fine. And my grandma used to have a dishwasher, but she loved to wash dishes by hand because she's like, it's meditative. And I think about that sometimes. I'm like, my grandma, who came over here through Ellis Island and then, you know, emigrated her way over to Milwaukee, lived like a genuinely hard life. Like, I'm going to be fine washing my own dishes in the center of Manhattan in a egregiously priced studio apartment. Like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. But I will say, like, living in New York is a bitch. Like, it's actually so difficult. I never really understood, obviously, because I didn't live here before, how hard it is to not have a car. I'm so used to having a car. So when you go to the grocery store, you can like buy a ton of groceries because you have a car to put them in. And I went to the grocery store and I bought a ton of groceries because I was like, oh, let's go. And I'm like, you know, 5 blocks away from the Trader Joe's, whatever. And I had to like schlep it all back. And it was so heavy. And my shoulders hurt so bad afterwards. I felt like I just did a fucking Ironman. And then when I got back with my groceries, I realized, oh, none of my shit's here because my movers hadn't come yet. So I was like, I have to go to Marshall's and get like a pan. So I went to get a pan, but then I didn't get a pan. I got like 100 other things I need because I was like, this is a great idea. I should just get a bunch of stuff while I'm here. I didn't learn my lesson the first time. So now, I mean, also not learn it the second time. I get a ton of shit from Marshall's and like, you know, you get in Marshall's, babe, and you're just like, I'm saving so much money. Like, am I even actually paying for anything? This stuff is all so cheap. I just might be saving they might be giving me money to take their stuff. That's how cheap it is. So I got so much of it and I was walking back like fucking Santa Claus. And like, there's these guys, first of all, nobody offers to help, which vibes. But like at the very end, this one guy was like, watch out, one woman army coming through. Like, that's how much shit I had. And I was like sweating like fucking Shaq at the foul line and just dripping sweat, and my whole body hurt so bad. I get all this shit up into the apartment. I have a 3rd floor walk up, so I have to go up so many fucking stairs. I get everything up, I'm like, and there are moments in this when I'm like, oh God, I feel really alone. And it's like hard to have to be so gangster. It's hard to be a gangster, guys. Like, that's what I'm saying. So I get all the shit down and then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. And then right after that, my shoulders were so fucked up from hauling all this stuff back. Oh, I didn't even tell you. After I got outside of Marshall's, I was like, I'm going to hail a cab for the first time. And I tried. And then these 3 black women got in front of me and laughed in my face. And that's what made me walk home. Because I was like, I can't handle the humiliation of that happening again. So that's what made me walk home. And so anyway, I walk home, I get home. I'm like, this is a lot. I feel alone. And now my shoulders are fucking killing me. So I had to go find an acupuncturist because I was like, I need to like release this fucking tension in my back. I felt like I still had a semi truck sitting on my shoulders. And, so yeah, all the money I saved at Marshall's, I spent at the acupuncturist. I just like went down the street. I found this like really wonderful guy who does acupuncture and cupping, and I'm going to go to him all the time because he was phenomenal. really, really, really phenomenal. So it's like I'm getting acclimated. I'm figuring it out. It's also summer. It goes from like the nicest weather ever to like so dog dick fucking hot. Like you walk outside and you just get hit in the face with like humidity and you're like wet and like I don't know. I'm here for work. I'm here to work and I'm here to grind. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to become a New Yorker. This is not like the lifestyle that I think really speaks to me. I'm going to embrace it while I'm here and I'm going to do my best. But I can already tell it's really hard. And I feel like, you know, I lived in LA for 15 years. I consider myself an Angelino. I went home recently and it felt like home. I was like, I'm home. I know where I am. I know where I'm going. I know where everything is. I know everything about everything here. I don't know anything. I very much feel like a fish out of water here. But what I do know is that it's going to fucking slap. It is going to fucking slap. All right. I'm not, you know, I'm not dating for the foreseeable future. I'm not dating. But I'm like going to go out as much as I can. It's my first time really in my life that I've never had an obligation. You know, especially not having a dog anymore. I really, really am like the freest I've ever been in my life. My friend's husband is, Mark Boone Jr. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, Sons of Anarchy, but he's Bobby on Sons. And he and I have become friends over the years, and he was in New York randomly, like literally the first Saturday I got here, and he called me up and he's like, oh, I'm going to like a 30-year anniversary screening of this movie I shot called Trees Lounge, and it's with Steve Buscemi and he's going to be there. And it's like, and it was just like, I was like, that's so cool. Like, of course I would love to go. We had like a nice dinner. We went to JG Mellon, which is like this iconic burger spot in the Upper East Side. And then we went to the Paris Theater for the screening. And then him and Steve and like a few of the other cast members did a Q&A afterwards. It was just nice. It was just like, I was like, oh, this is fucking iconic. Like, this is the kind of shit that happens in New York just by accident, you know, like that would never have happened to me in Palm Beach. Like when we were in Palm Beach, we would have to like go to like the Top Golf, which is like fine, but it's like you can only go to Top Golf and bowl and like go to the 3 nice restaurants so many times before you're like, I'm gonna blow my fucking head off. So all that to say is I'm just really glad that I live in a city where shit's going on and not one where I have to like pretend bagels are a good idea anymore. I don't have to pretend that I think a bagel empire in a seasonal town is a great idea. And that's that. Also, if you've never seen Trees Lounge, phenomenal movie. I had never seen it before. It was really nice to just like put my fucking phone down and watch a movie. I've been really trying to like stay off my phone and it's not working. I'll be honest. It's not working. I'm like trying to stay off of it, but it's like when you're alone, it's kind of like, okay, I can read a book. I can go for a walk. I can do this. I can do that. But like, it's a little more challenging. And I do think I need to like get out in the world because like my tendency to isolate is popping up a little more now. Like I've gone out a lot. I've gone out more than I've gone out in the past like few months, but also there are moments where I'm just like, oh, I'm just isolating. And I'm watching Widow's Bay right now. Well, I just finished it. If you guys didn't watch that, whoo, incredible show. It's like a horror TV series about like this Martha's Vineyard-esque type town that's like super haunted. And it was great. And I don't know. I'm just like good. Like I'm not great, but I'm good. Like once my home gets in order, my home needs to get in order. You guys can see this behind me. It's chaos. It says me and my dad always called chaos chaos. It's like there's wardrobe boxes galore because I don't have any shelving to hang anything up. So I'm like ordering all of that. I'm going to figure it all out. Everything's going to be amazing. This apartment is going to be fucking rad. It is so chic. It has old exposed brick. It's 150 years old. The floors are this old, beautiful wood. Everything's slanted. There's just like charm. For whatever reason, they bricked off my fireplace and that pisses me to fuck off because you guys know I love a fireplace. And the people upstairs were like, no, our fireplace is not bricked off. And I'm like, God damn it. What did the tenant before do? But I love, you know, the tenant before was probably like me. Remember when I was like burning my divorce papers and my DUI papers in Beverly Hills in the fire department game, like 40 of them. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like burning my past. Also, when I was burning my past, I burned my title to my car. So that's been missing. And so my car's still in Palm Beach. So I do have to go back to Palm Beach. And I want to go back to Palm Beach because I want to hang out with my dad. My fucking poor dad is there all summer. So I will be going back to Palm Beach. I'm going to like orchestrate another little fishing trip. Him and I can go have like a boat day. I'm going to sell my car. We're going to do all the things. I think someone told me that Carvana can request a title. So I'm going to see if they can do that. And yeah. So this place, once it gets finished, is going to be a vibe to the fucking max. I cannot wait. I love living alone. And I'll say this. My ex was great to live with. He was so easy. He was so clean. He was so mindful. He cooked. He cleaned. Like, he was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But just not having to hear a man go, just not having to hear a man just rip the most violent ass. Or just like, just men being men. Like, just people being people. It's not even a gendered thing, really. Like, people are disgusting. One per household is enough. Do you know what else I've seen here that's pissing me off? I have seen so many people blow air snot. I want to call the police. I have seen so many people just walk down the street, not unhoused. Nothing's wrong with them. They're doing just air snotting. I saw a girl take air snot. It got caught on her finger and she wiped it on a building. She was like in a trendy fucking outfit on a business call. And I was like, I want whoever you're doing business right now to know what the fuck they just did so they can know what kind of creature they are dealing with. That is creature shit. Like, sure, I get if it's like an emergency, but there's no way 3 people have had that same emergency in the 6 days I've lived here. I think people are just air snotting in New York City, and I can't relate. Also, I will tell you, I have a fire escape, and I love it so much, but I'm going to tell you this right now. It's going to make it very difficult for me to stop smoking cigs because there's something so romantic about smoking a cig on a fire escape, watching everyone just live their little lives. Like, the best moment I've had here. So when the Knicks won that unbelievable game, they were down by 29 points. They came back. They won. Wow, the streets were going crazy. I was still unpacking. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not going to cosplay in the Knicks fandom because I just got here. I think if I had lived here for 6 months, I would be like out at the bar showing my tits, like, honestly. But I'm just like, I have shit to do. I'm going to unpack. And also, it's like, I feel like I'm a part of it because I open my windows and the bars are right across the street and people are in the street screaming. And it feels like I'm a part of it, even if I'm not like putting myself in a situation that's going to make me socially uncomfortable because I have such bad anxiety being around people and like sweaty people touching me. And that's been happening a lot. But like, one of the most joyous moments I've had is having a cig right after that win, and people in the street like, oh my fucking god, oh my go fucking Knicks. Like, it is really cool to see a city that fucking lit up, like the whole city that lit up. I don't care how you feel about sports, something special is happening in New York right now. Something special is happening in New York with the Knicks. And listen, their last game is tonight. It's Saturday, so by the time this comes out, they will either have won or lost. But I kind of want them to lose, not because I'm a hater. I kind of want them to lose because I want them to come back to the Garden to win. I want them to win in New York. That just gave me like full body chills. Like, I just feel like that the team and the city both deserve it. And it's such an anticlimactic thing when a finals is won on the road. So yeah, I hope they lose. I hope they lose so that they can come back home and win. I think that would be a lot more special. Okay, so there's a few things that have come up for me personally recently that I want to talk about. And I'm going to say this as a blanket statement. I am going to stop discussing my personal life so much on the podcast because it has gotten me quite a bit of blowback, I'll be honest. I'm going to reserve most of what's going on in my private life for the Patreon. And that's not like clickbaity to get you over to the Patreon. That's just like, I have to protect myself. There has to be like some self-preservation here. And I can't keep making enemies by yapping. You know, here's what I've learned this year. People don't like to hear the truth about themselves repeated back to the public. And listen, I'm not a perfect person. I've said it a million times. If somebody got on a podcast and yapped about all the shit that I did wrong, I would feel pretty fucking bad about it too. So what I had to do is take myself out of my shoes and put myself into their shoes and be like, you know what? It's not super chill that I keep talking all this shit. And I think when I was going through the breakup, I wanted to be honest about it, because I think a lot of us go through really difficult, challenging things like that where it's a gray area, right? You can go one way or you can go the other way. And I chose out, but people could have stayed in. And I just wanted to be like a safe space and to help people like heal and navigate through their own shit and like let you know I'm going through it too. Like I am not impervious to heartbreak or pain or any of that. Obviously, it's like almost exclusively what I get is that. But I've seen a few things lately that I just want to talk about because they were really poignant to me and they really grabbed my attention in a meaningful way. And I think it's just something I want us all to explore and talk about. So the first thing is, I saw this online. I'm not going to take credit for it. But the first thing is, staying after disrespect lowers your price, right? So if you enter a relationship and you consider yourself to be at a certain level, and then your partner or, you know, whoever, it can be a friendship too, treats you in a way that doesn't align with your values, and you confront them and, you know, they say like, I'll change, or, you know, whatever, you won't see this behavior again. And then you stay. The reality is that now you just lowered your price because you just showed them that even after this bad behavior, you will stay. And I think there's a real big difference between once and twice, right? Actually, I don't know. I just said that out loud, and then I don't know if I believe that. I think that if a person thinks they can get away with it once and you stay, it's what's the difference between once, twice, thrice? You know what I mean? Like, they now think they can do this thing and you're going to stay because that's what you just showed them. So your price drops every time you compromise your standards in a relationship to try and make it work. And this is like one of the most painful lessons that I've learned in the last few weeks. It's not even like been a month, I don't think. But sometimes love is not enough. And that is maybe one of the most heartbreaking, I don't know if it's a paradox, but it's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever experienced in my life, because like I loved that person madly, like upside down and sideways madly, to the point where I like convinced myself I could like step away from my career and move to a lizard town. Like I really, really loved that person. But then because obviously the breakup wasn't the only thing that's ever happened in our relationship, right? There was a lot of like micro incidences leading up to that. And each time they felt so small that I could talk my way into staying. I would be like, all right, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal that he doesn't, you know, respect my requests to not go out until 3 a.m. It's not that big of a deal. And a lot of times I kept using the he's so young excuse, right? He's so young. And I want to get rid of that excuse completely, because like at the age he is now, I wasn't behaving that way. That's a choice. That is a choice. You're choosing your own adventure there. It has nothing to do with your age. It has to do with your character. But to the point of the original point of staying after disrespect lowers your price, I didn't want to be in a situation where anyone ever thought that behavior was acceptable or that I would stay. And this is the unfortunate part. Oftentimes, and in my experience, the catalyst for change comes when you leave. The catalyst for change comes when they lose someone they really love for behavior that they thought they could talk away. And this is not exclusive to the relationship I was just in. This happened in my marriage too. You know, it was a different thing, but there were things in that marriage where I was like, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I said it over and over and over again for 7 years. And, you know, and he didn't listen to me. And then when I left, he did all of the things. He became more ambitious. He became, you know, more driven. He started a hot dog company, which you guys should try. It's called Gleazy. They're fucking delicious. They're the best hot dogs I've ever had, and it's how he's going to be a millionaire. He's going to make hot dog rich. He's going to get like fucking hot dog rich. And I love that for him. I'm so happy for him. That's all I wanted the whole time. But it's like that catalyst for change came from me leaving. And I think oftentimes the catalyst for anyone to change comes from the absence of the safety that's brought by the person that they love so much, right? So I provide a ton of safety in relationships. I didn't feel that was provided for me in this last relationship, and in a multitude of different ways, but I do provide a ton of safety. And when that safety goes away, I think it's kind of a bit jarring. And it does incite change, right? And I hate that. I hate that. I hate that I have to walk away from someone I love to change them for the better for the next person. I hate that the person who's dating my ex-husband right now got the version of him that I fucking fought tooth and nail for. Like, I hate that. I hate that. But I also understand, like, it's okay. Sometimes you just have to be the impetus for change in other people's lives, and you have to know, like, when it's time to go. And I didn't want to lower my price or allow bad behavior. And, you know, one of the problems with me that I will admit is like a flaw of mine is when I'm going through something and I'm trying to process it, I process it by talking about it, whether it's to you guys or like my best friends or whatever. But the problem with that is when you talk about your partner's bad behavior, then, and you try to forgive them or you try to move forward, every single person that loves you is going to look at that person differently, you know? So I think it's both a benefit and a detriment that I do that. The benefit is that it makes me accountable to myself and to what I want out of this life. The detriment is that there's really not a ton of wiggle room. There's really not. And like, my best friend Claudia has like told me from kind of the beginning of this relationship, she kept just being like, I don't know if you're as happy as you think you are. I don't know if you're as in love as you think. Like, and but she gave me so much grace and she let me like make my own mistakes. And that's like another thing that I want to talk about. You have to let people you love fail. I can't tell you how many people told me to not do this, to not abandon my big career, to not move to a city that essentially takes me out of the game, to point blank period, not do this. But they all loved me. They all loved me through every single phase of it unraveling. They have supported me in the move. Claudia is like, that's my bitch. Like, I would be dead without Claudia. She literally has been like, it's good. We got it. We're going to figure out your apartment. We're going to make it gorgeous. I'm texting her 24/7. I'm like, should I buy this? Should I buy this? Should I buy this? Should I buy this? Like, what should I buy? What should I get? Like, I'm, you know, trying to make this home as beautiful as I can. You guys know it's very important to me to make my home my sanctuary. And, yeah, I just, you know, I feel very grateful and I feel very fortunate, but I would be lying if I said I'm not sad. I've never done a no contact breakup, and they're hardcore. I'm not like sad every single second of every single day. I'm like actually pretty fucking busy, but when I slow down for a second, it does feel like it's just, you know what it is? It's my body detoxing from the oxytocin of the relationship, and it's fucking sad. It's like losing a friend when they're still alive it's like a friending, you know? It's like, oh, that was my best friend and now it's not. No, I don't know anything, and that's okay. And another thing that I saw that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention, which I thought was very poignant, which is the longer you stay on the wrong train, the more expensive it is to get back. And that one fucking hit me because I could have seen myself very well kicking the can down the road on this. You know, I could have bought into the apology, and if it wasn't made so crystal clear to me that words were worthless, I could have kept going. And I just think it's really poignant because when you're going, you know, when you're going in the wrong direction and you want to get off and you know you should get off, but you stay on because it's less scary to get than getting off, it's just going to take you so much longer to get back to get back home. And I think this applies across the board. It's not just with romantic partnerships. It can also be with friendships. It can also be with work. If you're in a job that you hate and you keep going and you keep, like, this is actually a perfect example. Like, when I was in advertising, I knew I didn't like that job probably from my third year in. but I kept going because I kept getting better and better and better at it. And the financial returns were so significant that I was like, why would I ever walk away from this? But in my soul, I knew I hated it. In my soul, I knew I needed to do something else. But then I kept climbing and I kept getting better and I kept getting more successful and I kept making more money. And it became harder to walk away from because the further you dig yourself into something, the harder it is to walk away from, because it is, you know, who am I to walk away from the kind of money that I was making to go like chase my dreams are for poor people. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, but it's like, I do think this applies to anything. It's also, you know, it also applies to sobriety. Let's talk about that. Like my relationship with sobriety has not been linear. It's not been perfect. And, you know, I told myself I was going to fucking figure it out and I haven't. And I'm still not drinking, which is, you know, drinking and hard drugs are like my two major no's, but like I'm doing other things. And I want to be honest because I know I was like, I'm going to quit smoking. I quit for like 3 or 4 days. And then I was like, I need something. But the thing is, the way I behave when I'm doing anything is different than the way I behave when I'm sober. And I'm more proud of the person that I am when I'm fully sober. So I'm not like so proud of myself right now. I do think that's also why like I have to make amends for like some of the things I said on the Patreon and the podcast. And like, there are people that I've hurt with my words. And like, the reality is that I don't need to be taking their inventory. It doesn't matter if they stole from me. It doesn't matter if they were texting another, that doesn't matter. What they were doing doesn't matter. How I reacted that's my responsibility, and my side of the street is not so clean when I have a bit of a fuck it button, you know, and my fuck it button has been like the little, you know, Lotus edibles or whatever it is. It's like, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that, fuck it. And I know the further away I get and the longer I kick the can down the road, the more work I'm going to have to do when I return to the version of myself that I know is the best version of myself. So I know I'm not the best version of myself right now. In many ways, I'm not the best version of myself right now, but I am doing the best I can. And I know that's not always enough. And that's not going to cut it for some people, you know? But I will say this, I had such I guess I don't know what the right word for it is. It's such a moment of retrospective gratitude for Chris, for my ex-husband. And you'll notice I can say his name because him and I are still friends and him and I have a good relationship. And also he doesn't give a fuck what I'm doing with my career. He's not fucking paying attention to me at all. He's got like a big fat life and a hot new girlfriend and like a booming business and a great job. And like, he's great. He's great. So he doesn't give a fuck if I talk about it. I will not say my most recent ex-partner's name again because the vibes are quite different there. The vibes are very, very different there. And like I said, I've never done this type of a breakup before. I do see the benefit in it, but I also think it's like kind of psychotic, but also whatever. So, but I had such a moment of juxtaposition where I was able to like really look at these two people side by side. And when I went home to LA, Chris and I went to go spread Biggie's ashes on the beach. I might have talked about that on the last podcast. I can't remember. But when we were going to spread the ashes on the beach, I said to him, I was like, hey, do you remember when we were in couples therapy, when we were like about to get divorced? And you said to me, you can go out there and look and you can try and find another man, but you will never find anyone better than me. And at the time, I thought he was gaslighting me. I was like, how fucking dare you? Like, no, don't challenge me to a good time. I was like, but then once I've been out in the world and I've experienced men of varying degrees, and now this last partnership, which I can't fully call him a man, we'll say he's like teetering on manhood but not quite there yet. I said to him, I was like, you were right. Like, you really see someone's character in a breakup. You really see someone's character when they don't get what they want, and you really see who people are when shit hits the fan. They always say you know who you're marrying and you don't know who you're divorcing. And that rings true to the nth degree for me. Like, Chris was phenomenal. Like, from start to finish, just phenomenal. Like, sure, he didn't get what he wanted either. He wanted to stay married. And like, I wanted to go, and I don't regret leaving. Like, I have so much love and affinity for him and I always will. But like, we were not each other's person forever. We rode with each other together for the time that made sense. And then like we departed at the time that made sense. And like I've said it before, our lives have expanded significantly. And, you know, what was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, you know who you're marrying, you don't know who you're doing. He was so fair during the divorce. He said, take whatever you want. Like, you know, everything is yours. I was very fair. I gave him pretty much this house that I bought. You know, I put the down payment on. I didn't factor in like how much the market had changed or how much the interest rates had changed or anything. I just was like, just take the house. And, you know, he ended up paying me back dollar for dollar what I spent on the down payment. And like if I had gotten a lawyer, sure, I could have like shook more cash out of that situation. But because he was so kind and he was so fair and he was so loving through the whole process, I didn't want to. Like I honestly felt like I was doing a friend a favor. Like that's my fucking homie. He deserves a house. I was 7 or 8 years older than me. I can't remember. Like I was like, that's my dude. He fucking deserves that. All right. And so silly me, I expected a similar level of respect and care in this breakup because that's the only way I'd ever experienced a breakup. I didn't realize how much someone could rear the ugliest side of themselves. And like, it was vacillating, right? It wasn't always just nasty. It was a lot of rage and regret, a lot of anger. And then also, I'm not going to say it because it's private and I'm not going to say private stuff anymore, but it's just a lot of like, anger and then the opposite of anger. And it was an emotional whiplash I had never experienced in my life before. But I remember I was texting logistical things with my current ex. And then Chris had taken some of Biggie's ashes after we spread them on the beach in Venice. And he's like, I'm going to take him on this hike that Biggie and I always used to go on because Biggie loved to hike. He's like, I'm going to take him on this hike and spread his ashes. And so while I'm going through this like logistical nightmare of someone actually telling me to like fucking kick rocks and eat shit and like I'm on the lease and my ex texts me a picture on top of a mountain that he just scaled to spread Biggie's ashes. And it was just like Biggie's little, like, I was just like, oh my God, this is the mark of a man. Like, this is a man. This is a wonderful, wonderful person. And all that to say, I just feel so grateful that I even am allowed his friendship and that like, he was mature enough to continue to be a part of my life because I feel so fortunate that I ever had a partner that was so kind in the dismount, you know. I would say conversely, they're, you know, in this most recent relationship, like they broke their ankle on the dismount and that's just a shame. It's a shame because it's going to paint the lens of the entire relationship differently. And it's fucking sad, you guys. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like this isn't fucking sad. Like, I was in, you know, I'd been traveling like crazy. I literally found out what happened. And then I had to go to New York and then I found a place. And then I came back to Palm Beach for like 3 days. And then I had to go to LA for work. And then I came back I was back for 2 days. Saturday, Sunday, the movers came Monday and I was out. And I was in the Atlanta airport on my way back from LA, just like sobbing in the fucking Delta Lounge. Like just, and it's so embarrassing when you can't like get it together in public and you have to like cry in public. I always like, you never know what's going on with anyone. I've been crying in public a lot lately. Like when I was on my way from Palm Beach to Denver to do those shows with Raina, I got the call from the doctor who put in Biggie's feeding tube that, they found a lump that looked like cancer in his throat. So even if the feeding tube worked, you know, and that was the call that I knew he was going to die. I just like the whole flight was crying. Like I just haven't really had a moment to myself to like get myself together to not be fucking crying. Like I'm like, dude, I've really gotten my ass kicked these past couple of months, and like as painful as it is, I also know there's like a lot of lessons that I need to learn, and there's things I need to handle differently moving forward, and there's things I can do better. And you know, I don't have a ton of regret how I handled things. I think I spoke my truth, and I you know, like I said, people don't like the truth about themselves repeated back to them, but like that doesn't mean it's not the truth, you know. but I am going to do my best. Like I'm begging you guys, if you support the podcast, please join the Patreon. Because there might be a world where this does move to a Patreon only podcast. I don't want you guys to freak out. I don't want you guys to like lose your shit. I have a few friends who do it that way, and I think it's just a better way to cultivate community, and then I can like interact with you guys directly and like figure out what you guys want, what you want to hear. And I think it'll just be a bit more private. I think there's like a lot of evil eyes. There's a lot of evil eyes, and not the ones that bring you protection, like the actual nasty eyes, like kind of checking out what's going on. I've never had an episode perform better than the one saying I'm single and I'm moving to New York. Like people just laying around praying on my downfall. So anyway, pray quicker so we can end this shit. But yeah, no, I had one other clarifying moment in this breakup, and I want to tell you guys about it a little bit. So, and after this, you're going to see an outfit change happen because it's the one I record. It's half of the one I recorded yesterday. And, it's going to be a completely different vibe, completely different energy, but there's still some stuff in there that I want you guys to hear. But if you guys want to go to a psychic that will like absolutely fuck your shit up. Oh, first of all, Sylvan predicted this. Did I tell you that? Sylvan, the guy who predicted my dad's heart problem, also predicted this relationship ending and how it would end. He told me in February. He said it was actually going to happen in October. He's always wrong with dates, but whatever. He's always right with what happens. But I went to a different one. So his name's Drew McLean, and he's called the Manhattan Medium. And if you want his info, DM me. He's a little more expensive, but he's never been wrong, which is horrifying. It's horrifying. Like I just like don't actually understand how, but like he can be right, but it can be like years out. So the first time I went to him, I was like happily married, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, this is gonna probably end. He's like, I just don't see this one lasting. Like, I think you're gonna get bored, and like, you know, ultimately your career is gonna become more important. And I was just like, who the fuck is this quack? Like, I was like happily married on, like, I was like, how dare this man say that? And he's like, yeah, I don't know what the timing is exactly, but I know what's gonna happen. And I was like, okay, fuck you. And then it happened. And then I texted him. I was like, oh my God, you psychopath. Like, what the fuck? And it was years later. It literally was like 2.5 years later. I was like, wait, this guy said this exact thing was going to happen. Like, the career was going to become more important, and like priorities were going to shift, and energies were going to feel misaligned. And he's like, you're going to feel like you're swimming against a current at home, and you're going to want to break free. And I was just like, this motherfucker. So then I reached out to him, and he's like, well, let's do another reading. But he's booked so far out in advance. So I was like, okay, whatever, let's do another reading. So this is right after my divorce. I remember I was living in like, I had this Hollywood Hills divorce crash pad, and I was living there, and he's like, oh honey, he's like, you better buckle up. He's like, your shit's about to get rocked. Like the most, like, he's like, I don't want to say demonic. He's like, but it's pretty close to demonic. Like, you are about to meet a guy. He's like 6'5". He's blue eyes, blonde hair. He's beautiful, and he is going to flip you inside out, like to the point where you have to get sober from sex. And I was like, what? This doesn't know. And he's like, there's also a musician coming. Like, I don't know. He's like, I don't think he's like a drum. He's like, I think he's like, it starts with a D, but he's not a drummer. He might be a DJ. And I was just like, oh God, this sounds horrible. But like, yeah, so first came DJ, then came, if you guys followed the old podcast, you know who, the one who gave me these tattoos, and then came my like journey into sex and love sobriety. And then he said in that same one, he's like, your next soulmate is coming, and he will tell you initials. They're not always going to be in the right order, but he's like, your next soulmate is coming, but it's going to be a while. And his initials are AMJ. And I was like, well, okay. And every time I met someone, I would be like, no. I was like, who the fuck even has an A in their name? And my ex's initials are MJA. And he also said to me, he's like, he's not going to be like your traditional type. Like, he's going to be like Middle Eastern or something like that. And I was like, again, like, I was like, this guy is a fucking quack. Like, I'm not attracted to those types of men. No offense. It's just not my preference. And yeah, old boy is half Syrian. So I just was like, oh my God, this fucking guy. But it did take me 3 years before I met him. And then I texted him, and because he's so booked out, I was like, oh my God, it happened again. You fucking predicted the initials of the guy that I'm like dating and moving to Palm Beach for, and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh my God, fun. And he's like, if you give me like a review, because he's like trying to, grow the business. Obviously, everyone's trying to grow their business. He's like, if you give me a review, I'll do like a free 30-minute session with you. And I was like, okay. We put it on the books. Again, unbeknownst to anyone, we put it on the books literally 3 days after my ex and I really hit the fucking skids. We really hit the skids. And I go to this medium, and he's like, oh, honey. He's like, this is ending, and it's ending bad. He's like, you're going to see who this man actually is, and you're not going to like it. And he was right. And he's told me some specific things that I'm not going to repeat that literally happened 2 or 3 days later. Like, very specific interactions. And I was like, clutch my pearls, because the other things he told me, he's like, if you hang around and if you wait, this just gets worse and it doesn't get better. And he's like, very insecure. And there are like, just like things that like we could have all pieced together. And I was like, okay, I think I'm good. And then he told me, he's like, but if you leave, and he's like, I'm seeing like Flatiron, I'm seeing New York. He's like, I see the next chapter for you being in New York. And he's like, you are not shy on soulmates. He's like, another one will come. He's like, it's probably not going to happen fast, but it will happen. And I'm like, fine with that. I'm fine. Soulmate, take your time, dog. If you're out there, if you hear me right now, big dog, fucking chill. You just take a lazy river to mama whenever you're ready, because I am not in the mood. I'm not in the mood for a soulmate. I'm not in the mood for a soul tie. I'm not in the mood for somebody who I knew in the past life again. Like that. But past life shit, whether or not you believe in it, that's your own business. I fucking believe in it. I believe 100% that's what happened with this person I just got out of a relationship with. And that soul tie, it was like both of us were locked in. Not in like a love bombing way, like in a I found you way. And it was the most challenging 11-month relationship of my life. It was the most challenging relationship of my life. It was hard as fuck. It did not feel easy. It often did not feel fun. It felt like we were there to like teach each other something. And I think we did. I hope we did. I know that I learned a lot. I think he learned a lot. Again, if I ever loved you once, I'll love you always. I'm never going to not love somebody that I once loved, or have love for them at least. Like it might not actively be like, I love you, but it's like, I have so much love for you and such profound respect for the position you held in my life while you held it. And I feel so full of joy and light and love, and I feel lighter and I feel brighter, and I just feel like I just keep waking up every day being like, I think something amazing is going to happen. I think something amazing is going to happen. I go to bed at night being like, I think something amazing is going to happen. And I do. I just feel like amazing things are happening all the time, and they might not be huge, amazing, like breakthrough things, but I just do feel like divinely protected and supported. And New York is beautiful this time of year, and I'm sad to obviously not be going on my trips. Everyone wants to go on fucking trips. You know what I mean? Like, everyone wants to go on their trips with their man in the summer. But I might be going on some trips with some girlfriends. And listen, there's a little more podcast coming up for you guys. I'm going to switch back over into who I was yesterday, and you get to see that version of me. That version of me might be like a little more of a bummer. But I love you all, besties, and I will see you next week. So I wanted to share with you guys, I've been reading this book all year called The Pivot Year, because I felt like this year was a pivot year before it showed me that it was a pivot year. And it's a book of, it's 365 days to become the person you truly want to be. It's by Brianna West, and it's just one day, like one affirmation a day. And right now I'm on day 53, and this really spoke to me, and I just want to share it with you guys. Because I thought it was insightful. Day 53. Nothing is wrong with you. You are supposed to have days in which you are so self-assured, followed by nights where you gaze into the sky and wonder if that's all there is. You're supposed to have years that feel like weeks and weeks that feel like years. You're supposed to get rejected sometimes. You're supposed to have people disagree with you at times. You're supposed to be a little lost now and again. You are not supposed to have all of the answers. Nothing is wrong with you. And I thought this was so interesting just for today's, because I have been feeling these feelings recently. Like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing with my life? Where am I going? Where's this all headed? And I do have such faith in God and like divine redirection and everything like that. But like, there are days where I'm like, how is this my life? Like, I really didn't envision my life at 37 to be single, living in a studio apartment by myself, having moved twice in under 4 months. Like, I just didn't think this was my journey. But the truth is, you don't know what your journey is. And I think, your higher power knows what your journey is, and it will make sure that you're on the right track at the right time. And so even if you're feeling lost, or even if you're feeling like something's wrong with you, nothing is wrong with you. We are all just people, and we are all just doing our best. And I think if you wake up in the morning and you have intentional gratitude, and even when things are bad, like, I do not think my life is bad right now. I really don't. Like, bad things have happened, but my life is not bad. I'm so excited to see what the next chapter has in store. But it's really hard in these moments of pause, when you're going through extreme change, to keep the gaze forward and just not look back, right? I think it's easy and it's human for us to all look back and be like, did I fuck that up? Did I make the right move? Did I say the right thing? Did I act the right way? And, I've been confronted with a lot of the things I've said on this podcast not being the kindest or the right thing to say. And while it was my truth, it's not always right to share that. And, the big lesson that I'm having this week is I need to exercise discernment in what I share publicly. And it's something I struggled with on the last podcast too. I just felt like I was oversharing, and there was like no part of me that was sacred. And I felt like I lost myself a little bit to the podcast. But like, at the end of the day, I get so many messages from people saying like, what you're doing is important and please don't stop. And you guys are the most loving, supportive group of people. And I'm so grateful. Like, the best part of my week every week is when I get to sit down and do this podcast. I love hearing from you guys. I love knowing what's going on in your lives. I love being able to be just a small part of your life, even if it's just Monday morning, even if it's just Monday morning when we're hanging out together and you guys are commuting to work, or, whatever it is. I just hope I'm bringing a small fraction of joy to your life, but just know, for the people that I've hurt, I'm also very sorry. And I feel like I can do better, and I want to do better. And I have been having these thoughts like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I keep my mouth shut? Why can't I let people just do what they do and me not yap about it? But like, another thing I've really been noticing this year is people don't like when I tell the truth. Like, when the truth about you makes you look bad, you don't want to hear it, especially not publicly, especially not, sometimes I forget that people even listen to this podcast. I feel like it's just like three of us hanging out in a room, braiding each other's hair, telling each other's secrets. And I have to stop with that mentality, and I have to be more meaningful with the things I say and what I put out into the world, and know how deeply it affects other people. And I, have had quite a year. Like, a lot has gone tits up, and I've experienced a lot of rage this year, which I want to talk about, because like, I don't consider myself an angry person. I don't consider myself a rageful person. I have felt more rage this year than I've ever felt in my life. And a lot of it has been things that have happened to me. Obviously what happened when we first got to Palm Beach with the designers made me very angry. What happened when Biggie passed made me very angry. This recent breakup made me very angry. Like, there's been a lot of anger. And what I do need to remember is the beauty in the pause, right? Like, not always speaking the second something happens. Like, take a minute, evaluate it a little better. I'm just doing my best, but I have been like the past 2 days being like, should I quit this podcast? Like, am I just fucking my shit up and everyone else's shit up? And like, is this like really worth it to have people that I once really cared about be in a place where they like want to block me publicly because they don't want to hear another word I say? I do need to figure that out, and I do need to exercise discernment. So moving forward, that is going to be what I do and how I operate on this podcast. I'm going to do my best. All right. I'm going to do my best. And I do think some of the tea in the Patreon is still going to be there. I do want to share parts of my life, just not maybe quite so publicly. And that's a challenge for me. I've always been a yapper, and keeping my mouth shut is a challenge. And there was a time in my life, sorry, one second. There was a time in my life when I was incredibly private, and when people didn't know a lot about me, and I was kind of more of an enigma and mysterious. And that was obviously before I started podcasting. And then I started podcasting. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. But no, I want to focus more on mental health stuff. I want to talk to you guys about your journey with sobriety. I want to talk to you guys about your journey in your own relationships and your own lives. And maybe instead of me just constantly sharing about me and what's going on, I can use my experiences to relate to yours and help you guys through, you know, the things that you're going through. And so that is my goal moving forward. I do want to do more bad advice. I think that's just a good spot for us. It's a good spot because you guys feel heard. I feel like I can be helpful, and I don't necessarily have to share every single thing about my life. Sure. On that note, I'm going to get into bad advice. This episode's going to be a little shorter. I'm exhausted, you guys. I never, ever, ever want to miss a week. And I'm going to start having a lot more guests on. I'm so excited to be in New York where there's so many comedians that I can have on. Hopefully my podcast setup will be ready in a couple of weeks. It's probably going to be in my bed for the next 2 weeks. But then after that, everything will be set up. I'll have a cute little studio. I'm going to have guests. We're going to have so much fun this summer. I can't wait. It's hot girl summer. You guys, everyone is single right now. Everyone is single. And by that, I mean me and Meg the Stallion. And Meg the Stallion dropped a banger. If you guys haven't heard it, well, she didn't drop it yet. She previewed it. Her fucking diss track to Klay Thompson is hilarious. And it's just feeling like hot girl summer. And listen, at the big age of 37, did I really want to be having a hot girl summer? I'm going to be honest. No, I wanted to be inside with my man. I wanted to be traveling with my man. We had so many fun travel plans. We were supposed to go to Italy. We were supposed to go to St. Bart's. We had just the best summer planned, and sometimes make plans and gotta laugh. And that is just truly what happened to me this year. I made a bunch of plans and God was like, absolutely fucking not, bitch. And so now instead of, going on those fun trips with my man, I'm going to take some fun trips with my girlfriends, but I honestly might just chill in New York and figure out the comedy scene and try and just embed myself here a little more. I feel very excited about what's coming up next. Okay, so let's rip into this bad advice. Shall we? Hidden requests. Bad advice. Okay. Hi, Britt. I recently cut out alcohol over a year ago. Congrats. I decided to do this because I was struggling with my mental health and had really bad depression. Addiction also runs in my family. My goal was to get 1 year of no alcohol, which I did. I'm getting married this year and have my bachelorette trip coming up. I've been struggling with my decision on if I should reintroduce alcohol just for occasions or if I should stay sober. Cutting out alcohol didn't fix my mental health like I thought it would, but I think it's helped a little. I used to be a party girl, so I can't imagine going on my bachelorette trip and not drinking. I would love to get your advice. Okay. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because mental health issues are so serious, right? And you need to get treated for that first. And when you're sober, you are able to get properly treated for depression or whatever other mental health stuff you're dealing with, because there's not something interfering with your mental health, right? Alcohol and drugs are a real interference of how you actually are, because they are, they can temporarily take you away from or numb out the pain of struggles with mental health. But then when the effects of drugs or alcohol wear off, you're then usually confronted with something much worse and much darker. And I think if you've made it a year and you're feeling even a little better, I wouldn't reintroduce alcohol, especially not for a bachelorette trip, because this is what happens. So when you take the time off from alcohol, we as party girls, as a retired party girl myself, right? We were used to drinking at a certain level. I could drink anyone under a fucking table. Not proud of it. I just could. If you reintroduce it, it's almost like starting all over again from when you were 16 or 15, or I don't know what age you were when you started drinking, 20, 21, 21, when you were 21, right? Legally. But it's starting over again. You have to build your tolerance up to it. You're going to have moments where you're slurring and sloppy after 2 drinks. And you're wait, this isn't fun. This isn't the version of myself that I remember that was a curated party girl who knew how to handle her shit, right? You're starting over again. And I just do not think the right place to start over would be a bachelorette party, because I do think that has the potential to ruin your bachelorette. Like, I'm just going to be honest. Like, also, like, when you're sober, you're able to manage your emotions, and when you start drinking, you're really not. Like, you can get really sad. Obviously you can also have a great time and feel really happy, but like, there is the variable, especially if you have depression, where you could feel really fucking sad. And like, imagine you have 3 drinks and then you start crying and you're like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be marrying this guy, and I don't know. Like, I do think it has a real possibility to fuck your shit up. So my advice would be, if you've made it a year, challenge yourself to make it a year and 6 months. And if you need, and a lot of people, when they quit drinking, they need an end. You know what I mean? They can't. That's why in the program they always say 1 day at a time, because we can't imagine our whole lives without it, right? Like, no fucking way. This was my whole life. My whole life was drinking, and now my whole life is supposed to be not drinking. That's insane. So like, for me, when I quit drinking, I told people, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break for a couple months. I'm taking a break. I'll be back. And I too was like, maybe when I hit a year, I'll be able to drink wine again. But then like, you hit the year, and if you look around, your life does get better. Like, I don't know. You didn't give me tons of details on how it's only gotten a little bit better. But like, for me, again, like, my clarity, my skin, my mental health. What happened with me and my mental health is my mental health issues became way more pronounced in sobriety, because I was successfully self-medicating with alcohol and drugs, and it was working. And I was always in such a bleary state of delusion that like, I couldn't even identify as somebody who had mental health problems, because I just thought I was hungover and I just needed another drink. You know what I mean? So like, it does get so much clearer. And that's why I ultimately ended up getting on Lexapro, was because I had long-term sobriety, full sobriety. I had 3 years, and then I started doing, you guys know the story. I go back and forth, but I had 3 years. I started and then I got another 3 years. Okay. And in both of those 3 years, my depression was the worst it had ever been, but I couldn't even identify it as depression, because I was like, oh, this is just how I am when I'm sober. Like, this is just who I am. I didn't even realize it was depression. And like, the person who saved my life is Dr. Shannon Curry. I don't know if you remember her. She came on This Is the Worst, an old podcast, and her and Brittany and I went to a lunch. It was like a year and a half ago. And it was one of these days where on paper, the day was perfect. I woke up, I went to Soul Cycle, I went to Soho House, I got brunch with Brittany and Shannon, and then afterwards they were going to go back to Brittany's house because Tommy was like making music or whatever. They were like, do you want to come? And I didn't. I just was like, for whatever reason, I fucking couldn't. And instead, I went home and got in bed, and I started Googling trips to Sweden, because they have that suicide pod. And I was like, I think I just have to go do this. And while I was literally looking at flights, she called me. Dr. Shannon called me, and she's like, hey buddy, I'm not trying to overstep, but I've been doing this for years. You have crushing depression, and I want to see you get out of this, and I want to see you feeling better. And she told me about how Hims and Hers, the hair regrowth site, has now become like a full 360 health site. She's like, it's really easy. You go on there, you take a survey, and it can tell you, what level your depression is. And she's like, I would try Lexapro. Lexapro is the one that has worked the best for me, and it has worked the best for the majority of my clients, and da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm like, okay, I'll toggle over and I'll see what's going on over there. But like, I still kept the flights to Sweden up. Is it Sweden or Switzerland? I don't know. I probably would have gone to the wrong country with my luck. I would have been like, it's not even here. Just jump off a tall building. No. So I did it. And I got treated for my mental health. And while my life has been so challenging, I still, as long as I take my Lexapro, do not have thoughts of suicidal ideation. I really thought all of us were waking up every single day the same way I was, which was just like this crushing weight of like, do I do this day or do I get the fuck out of here? And that's not true. That's not how people are living. So long story long, before you decide to start drinking again, go to a psychiatrist and get evaluated and try meds, because like, there's a real good chance, like, you just need meds and you don't need the alcohol. And, you know, I also read somewhere that Lexapro, I don't know what the exact terminology was, like softens the effects of alcohol. So like if you drink on Lexapro, you don't necessarily feel it. And I thought that was really interesting, because then I'm like, that's actually kind of a miracle in its own right, because for those of us who did drink to cure our depression, if we get on depression medication that's working and then the drinking does kind of nothing, what a dream, right? What a dream that is. So I would say go ahead, get yourself a psychiatrist meeting first, get medicated, or even just go on hers.com and do the same test I did. Whatever mental health stuff you're struggling with. I think they mostly focus on depression and anxiety. There are like more complex things that I don't think they can do, like borderline or schizophrenia or bipolar. Like I'm not sure that they can help with those. But I would say don't revert back to drinking right before the wedding, because also like there's nothing, a fucking Amazon packaging. Sorry, this Amazon delivery driver is an op. He's fucking trying to ruin our podcast. There's nothing worse than a drunk bride. There's nothing worse. And I will tell you that as someone who was a drunk bride. I mean, the pictures, I have flop sweat like Shaq at the foul line. I do not look as good as I could have looked. I also got way too much Botox before my wedding. I didn't even need to. I was 27, 28. I didn't have a single wrinkle on my face, and I got like all this Botox. So when I smiled, I looked terrified and terrifying. And so those are my 2 tips. Don't be drunk at your wedding, and don't get 50 units of fucking Botox for the first time ever 2 weeks before your wedding. That is crazy shit. Okay, let's rock and roll into our next bad vice. Okay, so this one isn't necessarily bad advice, but it's an interesting DM I got, and I want to address it. The guy said, "Hey, as a guy with insecurities and being a good-looking guy, I would love to tell people my story of love and sex. The story from the other side. Girls always talk about big dick energy, and what that does to normal guys and maybe below average guys is pretty hectic. Lots of guys think we aren't enough because of the porn industry and our girls' exes, etc. I would love you to hear from a complete bang on an average guy that's married." Okay, I don't think this makes a ton of sense. But basically, I think what he's saying is that he is good looking and he's insecure, and it sounds like he doesn't have a big dick. And that's okay. Here's the thing guys need to know. The big dick energy, that's an energy thing. That's just like a confidence thing. Like, I don't know if you just saw, it came out recently that Paul Rudd has a huge dick. Great news, right? He did a podcast where he was talking about how big his dick is, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But it's like, you can tell he does because he's calm, cool, collected, confident, right? So you can be calm, cool, collected, confident without having a massive dick. I have hooked up with guys that are calm, cool, collected, confident, and I was like, this guy's gonna have a thing on him, and he didn't. And he had a below average dick. But if you act like you got the sauce, then you got the sauce, because confidence is an illusion, right? Confidence can fool anyone into anything. When I was young, when I was in college and I was getting into the clubs, I just was confident. That's how I got in. I didn't have a fake ID. I was just confident. I was like, I made friends with the door guys, and I would just like walk in. I would bring a whole drove of underage people with me, and they would just do whatever because I had the confidence of somebody who was older, right? And so when it was my 21st birthday and I went to the club to celebrate that, they're like, excuse me, what? You've been 18, 19, 20 this whole time? And I'm like, you betcha, but I acted older. So that's the thing. It's like, and that goes with anything in life. Just like acting like you belong is so important. Like when I walk into comedy clubs, it's easy to be intimidated. There's big dogs all around me, right? But like, you gotta act like you belong there, because you fucking do. And at the end of the day, everyone has some sort of complex about themselves. So if you have a complex about your dick and its size, don't Just don't. Like, literally, I've had some really, really great sex with guys who do not have a thing on them at all. And like, that sort of energy just comes from you being actually a confident person. It doesn't have anything to do with your dick size. And I will say, as a woman, confidence is one of the most attractive things in the world. That's something I was very attracted to in my ex. Both of my exes. Very, very, very fucking confident dudes. They're confident, they're funny, they're cool, and yeah, they had good dicks too, but it wasn't like, whoa, dicks. And also, I'm going to say this, at the big age of 37, I don't want any of those big dicks anymore. They hurt me. You have to be so unbelievably horny to even let that inside of you. Like, I don't know if you know this about vaginas. They're short. The only way they expand is if we're like very horny. And like, most guys, no offense, don't know how to get us very horny. So like, an average dick is actually great. Like, an average dick is actually just fine. And if your dick is not what you want it to be, it's not what we hoped and dreamed of, because we're watching these porns and we're like, whoa, it could be so much bigger. Get good with your hands, my guy, or your mouth. Like, if you're watching porn, watch a YouTube tutorial on how to find the G-spot or the clit, because that's all you need to find. And the G-spot is like 3.5 inches in. It's just hook up. You got to hook up. Guys who finger straight, like they're shooting a gun, like boom, 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 they should be shot with the finger gun, because that, like, you're just poking my fucking cervix. I don't know what you're even doing up there. Guys, do like the little hook. Because that's where the G-spot is, okay? The G-spot's in like a little, like, you just got to hook up in there. And then finding the clit wouldn't kill you. It's literally not that hard. It's a little button at the top. And sometimes it's covered in a little bit of fucking baloney, but you can dig through that shit like you can dig through it like an anteater, and you can get it and you can find it, and I believe in you. And that is where your confidence is going to come from, because confidence should actually come from making women come. If you know how to make a woman come, it doesn't matter if you don't have a dick. Why do you think lesbians are so confident? You don't need to have a dick to make women really, really fucking happy. Like, and so if yours is below average, or you're not super stoked on it, learn other tricks. And it sounds like you're married, and I bet your wife will be really open to you, like, exploring and trying new things on her, especially if it's going to ultimately lead to more pleasure for her. And it might be like, yeah, you're learning. It might be like a little uncomfortable for a while, but then like, you're going to get it, and it's going to give you confidence, because you're going to be like, I gave her a mind-blowing orgasm. And if you can't find the clit with your finger or your tongue or whatever, go get a womanizer and just stick that puppy on there while you're having sex, and you're going to feel your wife's vagina do things you never knew it could. It's going to turn into a Chinese finger trap, my guy. Okay? All right. Well, this episode has been pretty fucking hectic. I dropped word of the week. I don't think any of you guys are going to care at all. I don't think any of you guys wanted to come on that journey with me about getting smarter. I've had so many of you be like, we don't care about this at all. I'll just keep going on my own with that journey, and I'll just keep getting words like acrimonious. Did you guys notice acrimonious and acrimony? That was a good one. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Sorry it was a little low energy. Sorry, sorry, I just can't be so funny every episode. Sometimes you're going through too much to be like giggle sticks. But I am very excited about some of the guests that I'm going to have on when I keep doing these podcasts here in New York. There's so many people to choose from and hang out with, and I think we're going to have such a good time together. And I know you guys loved that episode with Charlotte. There's a chance she's coming to New York, and we will shoot again. I'm also going to have Ellie Colbert back next week. So yeah, we have a lot of fun. We are going to have a lot of fun this summer. All right, you guys, it's going to be hot girl summer. It's going to be hot bestie summer, HBS bitches. We're going to be out. We're going to be hot. We're going to have fun. We're not going to date. I gave it a gander. I gave it a thought. I got on Raya for like 2 seconds, and I was like, ugh. Like, just the thought of a man. It's oppressive. And no offense, men. I love you. I love men, and I do want to eventually be with a man who's at my level and a partner and a wonderful, I think they bring so much value. But right now, Mama's still healing. I'm still going through a fucking lot, and yeah. I'll see you next week. I'll be in a better mood. I'll have a little more energy. I didn't sleep well last night because the Knicks won that insane game where it was like they were down by 30 and then all of a sudden they came back and won, and then like there were sirens in the street and people like rioting until like 3 a.m, which is an interesting juxtaposition, right? When a whole city is so excited and they're rioting and I'm like in bed like, did I just fuck my whole life up? Did I No, I actually wasn't thinking that. I'm just having anxiety about like getting my space in order. If I'm honest, you guys know me. I'm a Taurus. I need my space to be in order. And the movers just came the other day and I have so much shit to unpack and so many things to buy. And, I just got shit to do, babies. I got shit to do, besties. But I love you all so much. And I hope you have the best week ever. And if you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, please do. I'm not telling you this to taunt you. I'm telling you this to be honest. My stuff, like my real stuff, is going on the Patreon. This podcast is going to be a little more broad strokes. We might do like a little more, I don't know, entertainment news or world news or just responding to stories that are going on out in the world. It's just going to be a little lighter and a little bit less about me because there's a crushing weight when I have to share every single thing that's going on in my life. And I don't want to do that until the end of time. That's just like not my journey. But I love you guys so much. And sub the Patreon. It's just Brittany Schmitt on Patreon. And then what else? I was going to say one more thing. La 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 la. Oh, this week we're pausing on The Artist's Way. We are going to get back to The Artist's Way next week. I lost the book. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know where the book went in the move. So we're pausing The Artist's Way this week. We're going to get back to it next week. Go, if you can, give me 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to your podcast. Share with the friends. We're still growing. We still want to get this thing going. And I love you guys so much. I hope you have the best week, and I will see you next week. Bye, besties.